Okay, hello and welcome to our extended disc webinar. Can you guys all hear me okay, hopefully? Marku, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can, excellent.
Okay.
All right, so Marku, is your camera on? As being virtual employees ourselves today, we're all trying to, there he is. Hi, Marku.
Uh, am I
Good.
there?
Yep.
All right. I can't see myself, which is a good thing.
Okay, so we live and learn, all of us. So
Right.
welcome to our mini webinar today. Our topic is using DISC with virtual employees, which I'm sure most of us are. It is a 15-minute webinar. So because we have to kind of move quickly, we don't have time for live questions. So please put your questions in the Q&A section and we'll follow up with you after the webinar. We are recording this webinar today, so if you miss any of it or you have to jump off or you want to review it or share it, we'll put it on our YouTube channel as soon as possible. So my name is Christina. I'm the training director here at Extended Disc, and joining me today remotely is my colleague, Marku Kaufman, president of Extended Disc. Hi, Marku.
Hi, Christina. Hi, everybody. How are you guys?
Good. So I think there's a lot of information that we can impart, but we just want to kind of help you guys get started. And in doing so, kind of bring you back to the fundamentals to kind of impart, reassure you that it's not that different. The fundamentals are the same. The 4 steps still apply, but the delivery is just altered somewhat. Wouldn't you say, Marku?
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously a lot of things going on right now, but fundamentals using extended disk are still the same. The medium which we are using to deliver what we are trying to do obviously is different. And also what's different is that our employees are, frankly, they experience a lot of stress, and we need to be ultra sensitive to make sure that we continue to really engage them. We continue to provide them with training and development, but the fundamentals are the same. The 4 steps. Make sure we understand with extended disc, what are the 4 behavioral styles? What is a D, I, S, and C? And then create their really strong self-awareness, what I call a confident self-awareness, to understand who I am, especially under times of challenge and pressure. And we now need to continue to really identify who is the other person I'm interacting with. Now, of course, like we are doing today, we do this virtually. So we have to be really, really keenly focused on how to identify somebody's styles using this social distancing, looking at their emails, listening to their tonality, looking at their body language if you're able to look at a Zoom or some other medium. And then really, and this is the most important part, as managers and co-workers, how we really, at these challenging times, learn to modify our behavior to be the best manager and leader we can be.
Right. I think what Marcus is saying is so reassuring for someone like myself. It's, you guys already have it, this, but how do we just kind of sometimes put a little bit more focus, a little bit more energy into really make sure we are using these 4 steps?
Yeah, that's a great point, Christina, because the fundamentals are the same. We just need to make sure that we trust what we already know. Really being able to be keenly self-confident and make sure that we do not forget what wonderful things we can do for our employees as trainers, as consultants, as trainers. Fundamentals are the same. Of course, the times are different.
Exactly. So we wanted today to kind of just specifically focus on a couple areas to get you started. Obviously DISC applies to pretty much everything that we do, but how do we help you focus on helping your virtual employees? And it's as a manager, but quite honestly, this information applies to all of us as virtual employees, as Marku said. But we're going to focus in today on behavioral strengths. How do we use our strengths to be engaged, motivated, and productive, but not overuse them? How do we help our employees manage all the changes and the kind of the chaos of the unknown? How do we help them alleviate stress? And then finally, the topic we'll focus on is how do we motivate our employees? How do we use their behavioral strengths so that they feel confident and comfortable as a virtual employee?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think one of the things that helped me just kind of reground myself is, we ourselves here at Extended Disc, I love our team, and and we are very different styles, all of us. And I just remember like one of our employees who leads with the I style.
Yeah.
She was like, hey, let's have a weekly coffee break. Let's just do Zoom meetings where we just check in. I'm like, oh, what a great idea. So that's what we've been doing. And sometimes it works for some of you, sometimes it's maybe that's not the most practical and there are other ways to do it. But it just was a reminder to me that hey, that works for her, it motivates some of us, and it's a great way to connect.
It absolutely is. And now, as if we talk about managers and leaders and as co-workers, we really, really need to make sure that we are doing our very, very best to make sure we are doing those behaviors to really support each other. As managers, that is a tremendous challenge, not only from modifying our behavior as how we communicate, how we motivate, how we lead, but you also have to kind of navigate these difficult times, and you have these business pressures. But after all of this is being said and done, I think what it really comes down to is that now, and I have this quote in my wall, Christina knows it well, tough times never last, but tough people do. And if you want to be an effective leader, now you really have to dig really, really deep to really find out who you are. And the best way to do that is to modify your behavior as a leader, as a communicator, and as a motivator of others.
Thank you, Markku. So first off, I wanted to kind of just take a look at the strengths. With everything going on, we have a lot of distractions. And one of the things that we can fall back on is our behavioral strengths. But we want to use it in a way that is productive. And as a manager, how can we kind of navigate and help our employees use their strengths? So when you look at the D style, your D styles are independent, they're quick starters. So, if there's certain tasks that just are very measurable and easy to do, or not necessarily easy, but something that might even be challenging, maybe you assign those types of tasks and roles to your D style. For your I styles, like I mentioned earlier, they have that can-do attitude. They still can help your team maintain that positive atmosphere. So use their strengths. Your S styles, they're the ones that if they're clear on your instructions, they understand, they agree, they're very conscientious and reliable. I know that when I tell my S style employee, and they understand it and they agree to it, I don't have to worry. I know that they're going to get it done. For my C styles, if I have tasks that I really need to be very focused and looking for that quality, not making mistakes, the C style employee, those are the types of roles that are going to energize and make them rise. It's going to be much more comfortable for them as a strength.
Yeah, actually what I do, I don't know if you can see the quick reference card that I use it every time because I'm a very visual person. So every morning I think about what we need to do today. What are the critical things to make sure we are doing the very best to support our clients? And I kind of think about, where our employees and our team fall in this map. And I think about how do I really delegate the tasks that need to be done today that really align with the individuals with their behavioral style, because really two things happen. One is they're going to be motivated. Second thing is going to happen is that they will do that because we allow them to stay in their comfort zone. And the reason I think that way is that because when we are under these kind of times, we are really most comfortable when we are able to behave the way that we naturally would prefer. Now, of course, you cannot always do that, but I think if you're a manager, you should really think about that, because people are asked to do things today that are not really, it's in my lifetime, never seen anything like this, that we need to make sure that we are really allowing them to use their strengths. And that's what we're really talking about here.
Yeah, we always say caveat though, you want to be careful not to overuse your strengths, because that your strengths are something that also can get you into trouble. And,
Absolutely, yeah.
when you're talking about, that can-do attitude, you just want to make sure that, when they tell you they can do something, you really want to just double check, so maybe have them kind of refocus more on tasks. A lot of times they believe they can, but it's just not necessarily grounded in, in hard facts. Or, maybe you have your other styles like that are so focused on making sure everything is perfect, it ends up stressing themselves out. So we just want to make sure that we understand the strengths of our employees, but we also help them to not overuse their strengths as well.
Very well said.
So how can we help using DISC? So if we know the styles of our employees, how do we help them alleviate stress? And, for the D style, it's not so much that you have to give up your control, but they need to feel a sense of control. If they're involved in decision making, anytime they're allowed to have some, more independent choices, that's going to make them feel more comfortable. For your I styles, that interaction, like I said earlier, it maybe instead of, running into you can't run actually, but instead of like, sending an email to your I style employee, just think about picking up the phone. So these are just things that, again, very brief adjustments over a course of our workday. But if we were to make these types of adjustments, it could help, as Markku said, keep our employees in their comfort zone.
Yeah, at times like this, and I mean, it's really true all the time, but with the Ds, you want them to have that independence and allow them to have that freedom to make those decisions. Of course, we have to keep in mind what we're trying to accomplish, but give them as much independence as you can. I styles, you need to make those phone calls to make sure that they feel that they have that opportunity to talk about things. And if you're not an I style manager or a coworker, yes, it will take some effort and kind of energy for you to increase your I style, but you got to do it. With S styles, you need to make sure that they continue to be those dependable team players by providing that stability, and make sure you provide the C styles the information and the direction that they need.
Thank you. And then the last one I just wanted to focus, just kind of as a reminder to us, is how do we motivate our styles? We're in different places. We can't be face to face. How do we keep not only, ourselves productive, but how do we keep our team productive? And again, knowing the styles can help us do that. So, for the D styles, any opportunity you can give them clear, measurable goals, new challenges. I styles, they like variety, so if anytime we don't have, we can take a step outside of the routine. And focus on positivity. Just think about your tone of voice when you're presenting to an I style, or can you reframe the words that you use from maybe a more negative to a more positive tone. For your S styles, as Markku said, they need that sense of connection. They need to reach out and say, as simple as a manager saying, if you have any questions, feel free to call me, something as simple as that. And for the C style, perhaps they don't need as much connection, but they need clear instructions and guidance. So if you can put that in an email, if you think about your C style, they may prefer in writing because they can process it, they can follow it, it's logical.
Absolutely. And the same principles apply what was talked about the D, I, S, and C. Now we just need to, as managers and leaders and co-workers, we really need to set aside some time to make sure we are really connecting with all of our employees and thinking about what is the message that we're trying to convey, and most importantly, knowing your audience. Who's the person I'm talking to or sending this email? What are their communication preferences? how do they deal with stress? How do they really interact with things? So we just need to be very, very careful about making those specific decisions about getting that step forward. How do we modify our behavior?
And honestly, you know, this is, you know, my part of the pep talk. I mean, I always say you guys are here listening in on this webinar. You guys are managers here for a reason. You know, you are successful because of the things that you do. And if, you know, but to, you know, in order for us to continue to be successful with all the changes, with everything going on, it's just, as Markku said, just go back to our fundamentals. You know, if you apply these 4 steps, you know, just own who you are, remember styles of others, make those adjustments, then you'll find that it makes your job easier, and you know, there will be less kind of miscommunication.
Absolutely. Well said, Christina. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, please put it in the Q&A section, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you or follow up with you after the webinar. We do have another webinar coming up next week called DISC is More Than a Communication Tool. What would you like to say about that, Markku?
Well, I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions about DISC model is that people think about it is a communication tool only. However, it impacts us. Actually, we're seeing it today, how people react to what's happening in our world today. So we're going to talk about that and really hopefully widen the horizons when you're thinking about what all this can do for you and your employees, and making you more successful, not only as an individual, but as a team, as an organization. And as always, go to extendeddisc.org. When you go to the website, click on the top right. Am I going this way? I'm sorry, I can't see.
Yeah,
top right, okay, top right corner, and click on events. And we have a lot of upcoming events in terms of webinars and other things. And if you cannot make the time, just make sure you register for the webinar, because even if you cannot attend, we'll make sure to send you the recording.
All right. Thank you guys out there. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll hopefully be in touch soon.
All the best to everybody. Thank you.
All right. Take care.